So guys, welcome back to the Driven247 podcast, episode 2. Now, I am going to continue and stick at this podcast recording kind of thing. My kind of aim is to get a podcast uploaded onto Spotify and onto the YouTube channel every couple of weeks. So I think we're kind of within the time frame of that little plan and goal that I set out. It's kind of hard filming a podcast because I film these at home and I currently have a 6-month-old puppy in another room. The doors are open, he's just playing with a bit of a treat, so hopefully he's kept quiet as I can proceed with recording episode 2. Now, just to alliterate or go over episode 1, I kind of introduced you to myself, but I forgot to mention a big thing about myself. I introduced myself as a female petrol head, which I am that. But I forgot to mention, not the elephant in the room, but I don't know. I forgot to mention that I am an automotive YouTuber, and that is why I'm now starting these podcasts as a side thing to the YouTube, and just to show that I have a lot of strings to my bow. That rhymes. Ha ha ha. We're on to a winner of this one. Feeling positive. Just had a mad day with personal life decisions. I've kind of took a bit of a risk today, and I'm in the middle of a changeover happening. So to do this podcast today to talk about something else could be a good thing to get my mind off personal life, grown up decisions today. So episode 1, as I said, I touched on my upbringing and school life, which wasn't so good for me. And I think I'm just going to kind of continue with the kind of flow that we're going on at the moment with the podcast. Although I introduced myself as a petrol head, which I am, and an automotive YouTuber, which I am, I'm just kind of want you guys to get a bit of a backstory on me as a person and my personal life. And then there's so much car stuff I want to talk about on this podcast. But for now, I want to kind of continue the journey from episode 1 as such. And I think in this episode, talk about, like, the main thing, as I said at the start of this episode, is the YouTube channel. And I think I'm going to touch on why I started that, how I started it, and touch on, I suppose, some other battles that I've had. So again, in episode 1, I said my school life wasn't very good. To put things plain simply, I got bullied. Wasn't very nice because I had a disability back then. And so yeah, we're going to talk about the whole YouTube stuff and how that helped me. Well, YouTube just helped me in many, many ways that I didn't think it would ever do. And yeah, I'm very happy with that. Backpedaling a little, so I am just going to, as I kind of said, carry on with episode 1 a little bit. So I'm going to kind of start from where I kind of finished off. So basically, I left school at the age of 15. My mum homeschooled me till I was 16. So because I physically left school, I didn't get any GCSE, so I didn't get any grades from school. Now, that was kind of a big thing for me. Like, the main thing was I was out of school. That was more of an issue just to get me out of there. Like, I just didn't want to be at school, basically. That was, like, my priority. I hated school, got bullied, didn't want to be there. I didn't realise I didn't have to be there because, as I said, my mum took me out and was able to and homeschool me, and that was a thing. It was all okay to do, and my mum did that for the last kind of schooling year of my life. And yeah, because I wasn't physically at school, I left school with no grades. And that left me thinking, as a confident deprived young lady, girl, teenager, got me thinking, right, how on earth am I going to cope with adult life without no grades? How am I going to get a job? Because, you know, you're taught at school. Well, I wasn't really taught at school. As I said in episode 1, it was hard to learn in my lessons that I was in. You're taught at school that, you know, grades are everything. You need to get good grades in order to carry on in adult life, to get a good job. And that was, you know, it's drummed into you, I feel, at school. It's drilled into you at school, like, you need good grades to go into adult life with, and I had no grades at all. So my mum was flicking through the local newspaper and she saw a college course, and she said to me, Amber, why don't you just get onto this college course, with a local college it was. Why don't you just get onto this college course, get yourself maybe some grades, so at least you've got something to your name, and you will get an actual degree, what am I on about? You'll get a higher education in a non-schooling subject. So that was where I went after school. It was pretty easy to get onto that college course, to be honest, because it was like a level 1 college course. I'm going to put it in simple terms. It was a level 1 college course in horticulture, aka gardening, and basically some kind of school dropouts, so other kids that didn't do well at school, were easily accepted onto this course. I would have done okay at school, but obviously I left school with no grades, but I was thankful enough to go onto this course with no, obviously, grades at all. And yeah, through that college course, I'm not going to talk about it too much, but it was a really great course. I got a qualification in horticulture, aka gardening, and I also got some qualifications: maths, English, computers, ICT, whatever you call it nowadays, IT, I don't know, out of touch with it all. And yeah, from there I managed to get into work life, and obviously I realised after getting my first job, thanks to that kind of college course, I realised that grades weren't really a thing. It didn't matter. People took you on face value. If you interview well, hopefully you'll get the job. It doesn't matter what you've got on paper, grades and stuff. If you look like a hard worker and you talk well in an interview, you're going to get the job. And that's what happened with my first job. They weren't bothered that I left school early. They weren't bothered I didn't have GCSEs, because I then realised you don't have to have grades to work in a garden centre, basically. So I promise I will talk about the YouTube stuff. I just kind of, as I say, want to kind of progress from episode 1, really. So without, we can maybe talk about this another day, maybe, like jobs I've had and stuff. Kind of relevant to what I'm going through today in my personal life. But yeah, basically, because I didn't do well at school, I left because I got bullied, basically. I just thought having no grades to my name wouldn't get me anywhere in adult life, and it turned out that was wrong. I managed to get a job, and I managed to have jobs afterwards with no qualifications to my name as such. Also, I did have some thanks to that college course. But yeah, I managed to get into the working world, and then I worked my way into what I love and enjoy, and that is cars. So yeah, I ended up going working into the motor trade, and since I've had a few motor trade jobs, main dealers, small independent kind of dealerships, garages, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, I did end up getting the kind of jobs I wanted after all. Again, not really having the qualifications to my name because of my bad school life that I had. I'm just going to tell you this kind of car-related, college-related story. I want to talk about my car history in detail in this podcast, but I'm briefly going to talk about something to do with early life car history. Then we're going to go on to the whole YouTube subject, so just bear with. I remember that it was coming to the end of my college, that the year was coming to an end, and I remember as a college group, we had, as a bunch of students and the tutors, we had set out to, on our last day of college, we were going to finish at lunchtime and go down a local pub for a Coke, obviously, because we were all under the age of 18, most of us. So I had my driving test booked in for a day where I was like, I had my driving test booked in before the last day at college, and we were all going to meet for the pub at lunchtime, as I said. And I kind of just had this vision of me passing my test and me driving to the pub on my own, and all the other students being like, "Whoa, you got a car? Yeah, I passed my test." Like, that's going to be massive, big brownie show-off points for me. But I remember my first driving test, I failed, and I was so gutted because obviously I wanted to pass my driving test, but in the back of my head I just had the fact of, I didn't pass my test, I can't go and show off to all the other students by turning up at the pub to celebrate us leaving college with a driving test under my belt. I'd passed my driving test, what I'm trying to say, and I had a car. So I was gutted I didn't pass my test in time to kind of show off, as I say. But yeah, minor thing, I thought I'd share that. Let's talk about YouTube then. Let's go and do it then. So whilst growing up, again, I've touched on it already, but we're going to talk about this, and let's digress. So, when my parents, while I was living at home, my parents, they bought their property because it had a massive driveway, and it does. You can fit about, how many cars down the side of the house? About 7 or 8, and that has now overflowed onto my parents' front garden, which no longer is a front garden, it's car storage, of course. And there was always a thing when we were, late teens of, my dad would say, "Kids, can you come and help us?" Because we used to have like a caravan, like you tow on the back of a car and go on family holidays with. There used to be times where, we'd get called out onto the driveway to push the caravan around, and especially as my parents' vehicle collection started to grow, we used to have driveway shuffles, so there'd be like a bit of a family meeting, like, "Oh, tomorrow at the weekend we're going to move the driveway around because Dad wants to get this in the garage to work on it, so this has got to come out the garage, this has got to move in order for that to get in the garage. You see what I mean? Driveway shuffling, baby. So we used to do a driveway shuffle, and I used to kind of think in my head, like, we've got some cool cars here at home, I'd love to show them off to the world, to whoever wants to see. And the YouTube idea kind of stemmed from, I think my family at home here, we've got cool cars right outside the door, right here. I wanna document that. And then obviously at that age where obviously I started thinking about YouTube, I was obviously well into my years of driving, and I owned my first Abarth, which was, if you don't know or if you don't remember, I don't know. My first Abarth was a black 595 Turismo, 2013 plate, I think it was. I bought it used. Basically, I've owned 4 Abarths, but there was no one filming Abarths at the time when I looked on YouTube. There was no Abarth car YouTuber, so I thought, not only can I show off my parents' car collection and film them for YouTube, I was going to talk about Abarth ownership, talk about my personal Abarth, because there was no one talking about Abarths on YouTube. So I thought I was onto a winner. I had a family which owned cool cars right on my doorstep, literally, and I owned a pretty cool car for how old was I when I got my first Abarth? 18, 19? And they were just quite underestimated cars. They weren't very popular. You didn't really see many on the roads nowadays. I basically got an Abarth because my parents bought a used one, and they said, oh, you ought to get one of these, and following in your parents' footsteps as you kind of do, I did get one of these. I ended up with my own Abarth, so we had the two Abarths in the family, matching cars, how cute. So with that, I just used the equipment I had, not being funny. I didn't go into it, save thousands of pounds, buy really nice gear and proper start pushing out the quality of videos, nothing like that at all. I think for one birthday I'd asked for a digital camera. I don't know if they're even called that nowadays. I had this purple digital camera because I wanted to take up wildlife photography in the back garden. Bless it, the quality on it now, looking back at these very early videos, which are available on my channel. Yeah, the quality's awful. And it's mad when you start YouTube, because bearing in mind the backstory, I left school because I got bullied. I had no friends. I had no confidence whatsoever, to the point of, if the home phone rang, I wouldn't answer it because I'd be too scared to talk to strangers. When I went out with my parents to the shops, I wouldn't talk to shopkeepers. I had no confidence whatsoever because I didn't have the confidence to speak to strangers, like shopkeepers, whatever. I didn't have the confidence that people would like me, because obviously no one's ever liked me, I felt. So going into YouTube was mad. Not only was I talking about what I loved, was the cars on my driveway or the car I physically owned, it was the fact that I would be talking to camera, like, how's that gonna go? But in a weird way, kind of thinking back at it now, it never really fazed me. It didn't scare me. Those things didn't really go through my head when I picked up the camera. I wasn't worrying about, are people gonna like me, like I would have done without the camera in my hand. Do you see what I mean? So I kind of just picked up this old camera and just started. Didn't have a selfie screen, so I used to hold it up in front of me, look at the camera of the car behind me. Couldn't see what I was filming until I wanted the computer, pushed all the clips together, and I actually saw if the video turned out alright. So I didn't just create the YouTube channel for my car videos. I'd kind of created the channel like a couple of years prior to properly uploading my first video, because I used to be really into like car detailing and detailing product reviews, and I remember just opening the channel just to kind of like review products, but without my face or no talking. It was just I used to spray products on my parents' cars, wipe them off, and just be like, look at this is amazing, but without saying it, because I never used to speak. So I kind of already had the YouTube channel, and I thought I'll give this a go. And I think my first video, I started basically filming the proper car videos, was because when I had my black Abarth, my first Abarth, I had a brand new one on order from the factory, and I started with walking around the park, and I think I got my mobile phone out actually with these ones. Actually, when I think of it, I was walking my dog around the car, the dog that's no longer with us, and it kills me to say it still, don't get upset about that. I started with recording myself on a dog walk, and I was just like, look, I've got a brand new Abarth on order, I'm really excited, and then I do another YouTube video. I've been told it's a couple of months away, and I was kind of filming the waiting time and the excitement leading up to picking up a brand new factory order car, and they were the videos that got my channel going with the kind of proper car content and stuff. And then I obviously filmed like I said, the bath I actually physically had at the time was the black one. I filmed that one on the dodgy camera. That's what I'm on about. And then sure enough, my brand new car arrived. I remember asking my mum for a birthday. I was like, oh, can I have one of those? I didn't know GoPros were a thing, so I just said to mum, can I have like an action camera? And bless them, they bought me these cheap ones of Amazon no one had heard of, but they kind of did the job, and I was able to sucker this camera up onto the Abarth windscreen when I received that new one I just mentioned about, the new Abarth. From the factory, I suckered that up to the windscreen, did some driving videos, and obviously in between when I thought, oh, I don't know what to film on the Abarth, I would go and film a driveway shuffle, because my dad said he wanted this in the garage and this has got to come out, and yeah, I used to film driveway shuffles. And added on to the driveway shuffles is my parents used to like, or my dad used to like buying cars. So if there was a new car coming in the family, then it'd be like, oh, where's it going to go on the driveway? Let's film a video of us trying to find room for this new car in the driveway. And it was all exciting because I wanted to not only kind of film and show off my parents' collection, but show off that they've just bought another car, or this car sold to replace it with this car. Like, it was all exciting stuff, and it was just free content because I lived at home with a load of cars, and it was just free content. So in between me filming my then brand new Abarth, the yellow one I said I ordered from factory, I was able to go and film the driveway, literally, and that's where the YouTube channel began, as I say, on the driveway, owning Abarth ownership and documenting that on YouTube. So I felt like I had a couple of unique selling points, USPs, because, as I say, there were no Abarth YouTubers on YouTube at the start of when I started YouTube. There was no Abarth YouTubers on YouTube, especially women, and I just wanted to show off my parents' large car collection, because, sometimes when you sell, I used to sell, my parents got 10 cars, like, what, really? And it's like, well, yeah, really, they're in my YouTube video, like, so yeah, I felt like I had some really good content, just which came easy to me. And as I said, my parents would help me with that content because they'd go and buy cars, and then I'd be like, hey, I can make a YouTube video out of that. And I remember, like, back then, my YouTube videos, like, sometimes, obviously, I wish I got more views. Of course I do. You always want to get good views on a video, but back then, I'd get, 10 views or something, but it didn't stop me pushing out the content. I don't know how regularly I uploaded, probably once a month back then. But it didn't stop me. I really liked doing it. And the mad thing was without me realising, YouTube was giving me this confidence that I really needed to do. I'd go to a car park on my own with my car and I'd talk to camera. I didn't know I could go to a car park on my own with no confidence, and now YouTube was taking me to places to film videos on my own. So my Abarth videos, let's talk about the Abarth video side of things. This is a subject I really, really want to touch on. So, as I say, I started Abarth YouTube videos before anyone else. Mine were up there to be seen if you wanted to see them. But on my other social medias at the time, especially Instagram, I had barely any following. So I was trying to properly grow the YouTube channel just off views, really. I wasn't advertising my YouTube channel on my Instagram like I do nowadays. It's totally different nowadays, of course. But then, because there was an Abarth guy that I followed on Instagram who had a much bigger following than me, he basically, from what I can remember, and this is cool though, from what I can remember, the guy started featuring other people's Abarths on his Instagram page, and then he gained a following by basically posting photos of other people's cars, showing off other people's cars, which is cool. And he grew a following like that. And of course, because he had a massive following before I had any following on any social media platforms, when he then put out to his, say 10,000 followers on Instagram, I'm starting a YouTube channel, he had a lot of people knowing about his YouTube channel, which then meant a lot of people going over to his channel subscribing. And it kind of annoyed me a bit because I'm like, hey, I'm the Abarth kid on the block. Who's this guy think he is? Like, it's just my patch, and it was really annoying because, like, he was then saying, there's no one else doing Abarth videos like me. I'm the Abarth YouTuber. And I was like, no. I was here first. But the thing is, though, what I've learnt now is that I was there first, but I never had the following that he did, so no one knew I was there first. So when I say this, I was the first, I was, but no one knew I was because I didn't have the following. So what that guy did was really, really clever, without him knowing it maybe, that was going to be, YouTube was his goal from an Instagram following, but yeah, obviously I was a nobody going onto YouTube, which made me still a nobody, but because he had a following, he then went on YouTube, and his following knew he was on YouTube, then he got a following on YouTube. And because the big boys and girls at a bath, they saw this guy doing a bath videos, and as far as they're aware, he was the only Abath YouTuber out there. He got all the press cards, he got all the Abaths, and I was so jealous, like, that should have been me and stuff. And I reached out to Abath a couple of times, and we won't go there because it didn't go anywhere, obviously. But yeah, it just goes to show what I'm now learning in my late 20s is that a following is everything. A following on one platform or a few can get you places, and it got that guy places. It never got me anywhere because I didn't have a following back then. But although I was very jealous of the fact that this guy said he was the first Abath YouTuber, he wasn't. I was jealous of the fact, envious. Why is this guy getting the coverage? Why is he getting the Abath demo cars or whatever, and I can't get one? But I totally get it from Abath's point of view. And then, as much as me being jealous, envious, wishing that was me, it was kind of like competition. Everyone loves a bit of competition. I knew my videos weren't going to be as many views, but I thought I could either give up YouTube because someone's really taken the Abath following that I could have had, or I just carry on doing my thing in my own little lane, as they say. And yeah, obviously I just carried on, saw it as a bit of competition. I met out with the guy in person at some Abath meets, spoke about YouTube a little bit, gave me some bits of advice, and it didn't stop me from filming the Abath videos I wanted to film, because at the end of the day, I kind of thought, well, you're a guy doing Abath videos, I'm a girl, we're different in that way. I might have different opinions on the Abath, just like he does, and yeah, I obviously just carried on for the love of YouTube, and kind of wanted to prove a point that, you know, a girl can film decent Abath videos as well as a guy could, I suppose. So yeah, owning Abaths was what led me on to the YouTube path. I didn't take it too seriously back then. As I said, I might have uploaded once a month. You know, the quality was bad. I remember speaking in my video, my early videos, I didn't have any personality. I was very quiet, kept saying a lot. Lots of long, awkward pauses. Maybe it wasn't too bad. But yeah, the main reason I started YouTube was to, like I say, heavily document my Abath ownership, the excitement of knowing that you got a factory order Abath in the process of being built, it's going to be delivered soon. I kind of wanted to, you know, film all those kind of behind the scenes bits of Abaths really, and obviously the more Abaths I owned, as I said, I owned 4 in the end. The last one being modified, I modified it. The modified Abath videos used to do really well, with my dad fitting parts of my Abath, and my ex, but we're not going to talk about him. Yeah, those Abath videos did really well because people then saw me owning 4 Abaths. They saw my ownership. That was all documented on my YouTube channel. They saw one of the Abaths, as I said, get modified. And yeah, I started to gain my own little Abath following, and it was great. It was mad because, like, I started going to these Abath meets, and people would be like, "Oh, Amber, how are you?" And it was a total stranger, and I'd be like, "How's this guy know my name?" Then he'd be like, "Oh, I watch your YouTube videos." And it's mad because when you talk to a camera, you're just talking to a camera. You forget that 12 people have watched that video, or 12,000, like. And so the fact that this guy was telling me everything about a video I filmed 2 weeks ago or 2 months ago, I thought, God, how do you know everything about me? Oh, I watched that video that you uploaded a couple of months ago. I'm like, oh God, yeah. Like, it was mad that people, real life people, come up to me saying they'll watch my videos, and you're like, oh, cool. And sure, that's like a, I don't know, ego boost, that's a confidence boost. People saying they like your videos and you're like a nobody still, you're not getting much views or following. That was so nice to know that although you see the numbers come up on YouTube, but an actual person's just come up to me and said they watched my video. I mean, that's mad. And what's mad nowadays is I'm actually back in with my local Abath club. I don't own an Abath, my parents still have theirs. And we've kind of come full circle because I'm now quite active at these Abath meets that I go to by this local club. I go and film there. And it's the fact that I still have a love for those cars. I'd like another one if I could one day, like an old Shape Series 3 Abath maybe one day. But I still have the knowledge for Abaths. I can still talk about them well, I feel. I owe a lot of my YouTube kind of, I was going to say career, journey to Abaths. That's where my YouTube channel happened. So to be back involved and filming Abaths again, like nowadays, like I said, even though I don't have one, it's great. So I think at one event, one Abath meet or something, I don't know, some car show, I bumped into this kind of like YouTuber agency guy who kind of worked with this Bath big YouTuber, I'm gonna call him. And I just wanted some advice, like, obviously I envied this successful Bath YouTuber and the journey he was going and the views he was getting and the following. And I thought, well, hang on a minute, he's hanging around with this YouTube guru. I'm going to try and chat to him. And I remember I DM'd, private messaged this YouTube agency guy on Instagram. And I said, look, I also do a Bath videos. I'm a bit like blah, 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 insert name here. I said, have you got any advice for me? I want to be a YouTuber one day. I remember the first thing he said was, change your YouTube channel name. I can't remember what it was called. Like I said, I started my YouTube channel putting up like little detailing short videos, and I think my name might have been Car Detailing Girl or Car Girl or something. And then I think I might have changed it to just my name. And I remember him saying, you need like a catchy YouTube name. And as soon as he said that, I went onto the channel and I thought, what can I call myself? What can I call myself? And this is a bit of backstory. Going to go into another cool little bit of info here if you didn't know. So I feel like I'm a very driven individual, pardon the pun. Driven being ambitious, motivated. Driven's obviously a car word, so I came up with the name Driven for those reasons. Car word, and I feel like a driven individual. Then I thought 24/7. 24/7 because it means all the time, like I'm always driven, 24/7, I'm always driven all the time. And 24/7, it's actually my birth date, the 24th of the 7th, 24th of July. Birthday coming soon, obviously. And I just thought that name worked for me. It had a bit of car word in there, car terminology. And unbeknown to some people, 24/7 was actually relevant to me as a person because it was my birth date, but also 24/7 has its whole meaning. So I thought Driven 24/7, kind of catchy, that's alright, it's not too short, too sweet, a couple of little numbers in there, hopefully people will remember it. So yeah, as soon as that guy said change your channel name, I was straight on it and Driven 24/7 was born. And I think, to be honest, as I look at the top of my screen, we've been recorded now for 27 minutes. Time does fly, and I think I said that in my first podcast. So this podcast has kind of been a bit all over the place. It's gone quicker than I thought. I don't want to be doing really, really long podcasts. I want to kind of keep them to 20, 30 minutes. So I think I'll kind of wrap up this episode 2 here. So as I said, just wanted to kind of follow up from episode 1. We've spoken a little bit about what I did out of school, leaving school early, how I got about adult life. I didn't go into it in too much detail, but I did get jobs, then ended up with some more jobs that I actually wanted that were for me, hence, basically when I worked in the motor trade, that was more up my street. And then we kind of spoke about how I started YouTube, why I started it, some of the troubles I faced, and yeah, I think we're going to kind of leave it there. The main thing is we touched on some of the YouTube side of things. As I said, the first couple of episodes, I just want it to be kind of about me, my personal life, upbringing, personal kind of struggles. And yeah, we've kind of gone from that into kind of YouTube life, which I think is a nice kind of progression of where we're taking the podcast. And then I've got many, many car stories to tell. And the more I pump these podcasts, that's a hard one to say, the more I pump these podcasts out, they will get, like I say, more car orientated, and we can start to make them like more of a kind of up together kind of thing. So I can tell you about stuff that's happened this week, and we can touch on like stuff that's happened really recent to me instead of talking about my past kind of stories, as I have been in the 2 episodes now we've done. So I hope you're still enjoying the podcast. I know most of my listens as to call it. I know most of my listeners are on the YouTube channel, but you can watch this. What am I on about? This isn't YouTube. You can listen to his podcast out and about on Spotify, so you don't have to stick it on your YouTube. You can listen out and about on Spotify. And if you're on Spotify, you can go and listen on to my YouTube channel, Driven247. But I'm glad we've touched on the YouTube channel, as I don't think I mentioned it at all in episode 1. That was really stupid of me. But yeah, I've had really good feedback on the YouTube channel. Some people weren't expecting my personal life to be the way it has. Some people were relating to it, unfortunately so, with the bullying side of things that I went to. A few of you guys have been through it as well. It's never nice, never easy, and it can define who you are in adult life as well, as I did kind of find out at the start of my adult life, I suppose. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed listening. There will be another podcast to follow in a couple of weeks. So yeah, comment below if you're on YouTube, if you think these are alright, if you can relate again to any of my life or anything, or yeah, and again, as these podcasts go on, we can do some Q&As and stuff and go into detail about certain car subjects, I suppose. So yeah, I feel like this one's been a bit more all over the place. Wasn't so good as episode 1, but I think it's still been a flowing podcast, so I'm happy. So yeah, thanks for listening, guys. If you're on Spotify or YouTube, thanks for listening, and I'll see you in another one.